Yes. Okay. We are here Sunday, August number 4, and we are live from Afrikan Magick Temple. We're gonna have another session of live Facebook streaming to present and also to talk with you about voodoo, to answer your questions. And so we are here. I'm Antonio, and we are here with Christopher.
Hello.
And then we have Hilario and Bokor Bullet. So for today, we will have like a little program at the beginning, and then we can open the floor for the questions. So we will touch different topics. One topic is going to be about the tradition and how other people in other contexts, not in Africa, in Japan specifically, approach and live together with their own tradition. And we will do that through the experience, the live experience of Christopher, who has been living in Japan for many years. After that, we will talk about libations and what is libations to start with, and the different way to do a libation. And third point, from which we start right now, it's with our friend Hilario, who has been with us for getting 4 weeks right now. So for our third Facebook streaming, and he has been doing he's an internship. He has been doing an internship here at Afrikan Magick Temple, and he will talk to us and to you about his experience. So, Hilario, please.
Sure. So, good afternoon or good morning, everybody, according to where you connected from. I had the pleasure of doing a 4 weekends internship here with the Afrikan Magick Temple, and then it's been a great experience. So basically, my interest has been from the fact that I'm an Italian with African ancestry, and I wanted to find out more about the traditional spirituality of Africa. So I came here for curiosity, and thanks to everybody here in the Afrikan Magick Temple and Mr. Christopher, the head priest of the temple, I got to learn about how voodoo is actually a deep spirituality practice from Africa. It is very different from what media and social media portrays to you. So either if you are following from Africa or from outside, I strongly encourage you to follow the page of the Afrikan Magick Temple and to see the next opportunity for internships. Okay. So myself, my contribution has been about on the business side, as I'm a business professional. I try to help the shrine to modernize from the point of view of how to organize a little bit the organization on the business side of how to structure. So this has been a rewarding experience. I made friends, like the person that is holding the phone at the moment. I don't know if you can show yourself, Coffee. All right, and we had very nice family-like moments. Thank you.
So, yes, and this is Hilario's experience, and starting from that, so we can also move forward with our program for today, and so about the experience in Japan. Like yesterday, Revolution was live from Japan, and Revolution followers had a chance to look and see the practice of the tradition there in Japan. So our point today will be the dichotomy that also sometimes and usually it's been thought different, like what is tradition and what is modernity, as if they are two different things. So we will go into that, hearing from Christopher about his experience many years ago and for many years in Japan, coming from Ghana, a place where the tradition, a place where the voodoo was associated, and is still nowadays associated, with bad, devilish practices. So, Christopher.
Good afternoon, everybody, and whether you are in Africa or somewhere, it's a good evening. I'm saying hello to all of you. Yes, we're talking about Japanese traditional spirituality, which is the same as nature spiritual practices anywhere in the world. Can be in Cambodia, can be in Ulaanbaatar, or in China, in Africa, in Tokyo, in Takasaki, or wherever in the Pacific, in Tonga and Suva, Samoa, all anywhere, it's the same, because nature is one and nature is everywhere. And people who admire and respect nature worship and do things according to the will of nature. So according what has happened in Japan yesterday and before yesterday, I think is the Obon Festival, which is the summer festival of the Japanese, whereby everybody goes back to their home villages, to their hometowns, to go back to their ancestral shrines, and I think sometimes they also go back to their ancestral graves and tombs to worship, to clean the tombs and clean the cemetery, and also go back to the villages and towns, clean everything. And then there is the festival of carrying the shrine, the god or the ancestral spirit that protects that particular community. All the youth, businessmen, everybody comes and they pray, they pour libation, they do all the prayers, and then the young people will now come and lift the god as if it was the god in the shrine, and move it all around the areas in the community, making sure that the god sees what is happening in the community and then protect and defend the people. So that is what the Japanese are doing, which is a nature worshipping or respecting nature, I would say, in this. It has nothing to do with any imported ideology from anywhere, but it is their own, and it is upon that they build what is modern Japan today. But one good thing about Japan is that they have not forgotten the old. Even though Japan has developed to this level, and everybody give respect to Japanese for their development in electronics and car industry, or just mention it, but they have not forgotten their ancestral beginnings. So when you walk the streets, even in the big city like Tokyo, or when you go to Omotesando and all those areas, you see that these shrines are on the road. Somewhere they make small shrine, they cover it, and the people go there, respect, or even if you don't see anybody praying there, they have put it as a mark, so that they to show that they have built on the old. There is a saying in Bob Marley's song that if you don't know where you are coming from, then you don't know where you are going. So the Japanese have recognized where they are coming from, that they are coming from their ancestral base, and so they know where they are going, and that's why they are moving forward. So that's all that I can say about Japan, how modernization or modernity and old has come together. You can see that the shrines are everywhere. I mean, it is not a shame. There are shrines in Japan that are more than 2,000, 3,000 years old, and people are still there maintaining it, and people still go there to worship and then pray to God. Whatever God is, it's only you who knows. But then we, as the respecters of nature, we believe that God is nature, and nature is God, and God is everywhere, and God is not limited to a particular race. God is not limited to a particular people who, without them, they are the only people that God came through them, and then God told them that they should go and now tell other people how to worship Him. It is never true. What kind of God is that? That you only go to one group of people and now delegate these people to go and tell other people how He is, if He is the God of everybody. Think about it. Just think about it. If God is God, why should He go to only some one particular race, one particular group of people, and then tell them that they should go and tell other people? Then He's not God. What about if I don't understand the language and if I don't come across them, so I won't know God? God is God, and He's everywhere. It has nothing to do with any building or any shrine or any particular language that you have to learn before you worship God. Worship God in your own way and according to your culture. Thank you for.
Yes, and continue on this topic, like what brought you to Japan, and what did you like about it at first impression?
Okay.
And also what started once you
What
started
brought
living
me to
there.
Japan? I'll start from what sent me to Japan.
Yeah.
Yes, what sent me to Asia? That's what I would say, because it's not only Japan that I had been. What sent me into Asia was spirituality. I was looking for truth, and then I went all the way to learn in India to be a monk. And then when I was a monk, ordained monk for that matter, in India, I finished my training and I was ordained as a Acharya Kamaleshwara Brahmachari. And then I was sent to Thailand as the regional priest to cover Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, and Bangkok. And then after some time, I decided to get out of my renunciation and become an ordinary person. And then I started performing magic as entertainment magic, because I was already a magician before becoming a monk. So when I was performing in Bangkok in one of the hotels called Dusit Thani Hotel, one of the 5-star hotels, and some Japanese found me and they asked my manager to send me to Japan to perform a 6-month show. And I went to Japan on their invitation to Osaka, and then from there I stayed in Japan for 6 months. I went back to Thailand, and then I again decided to go on my own to perform. And so it was looking up for the truth that sent me to Asia, and I ended up in Japan. My first impression of Japan as a country was the culture, the way people respect one another, and the way they respect nature, and the way they respect their ancestors. That's what made me to love Japan. And even until today, that's the most beautiful thing for me in Japan, because they love their culture and they love nature. They love culture, they love their culture, they love their people. The Shinto religion or Shinto spirituality is just like our Evid voodoo, where herbs and nature is used to create harmony between humans and nature.
Yeah, and would you say that for you being in Japan changed something on your perception of African spirituality, of voodoo? Because my experience in Japan, when I met some Ghanaian people living there, I found in them like quite a certain openness towards like the African spirituality, towards voodoo and let's say African traditional religion, the way that sometimes people use the word, but toward the spiritual practices. And the way they were telling me is because here in Japan also they do the same. They do something that's very similar, that Shinto is very similar. So they see that connection. So for you, was that meaningful as a point to, what was your idea at that time with spirituality, African spirituality?
Oh, just as I said earlier, Shinto is a natural spiritual practices of the Japanese, where herbal and nature is respected in order to respect what is called God. So my relationship with Japan, or my impression of Japan, because that really boosted my morale, in the sense that I realized that if Japan has developed as they are still connected to their ancestral roots, connected to nature, so why shouldn't we Africans who have denounced our ancestral disease and wanted to make ourselves Israelites, wanted to make ourselves Europeans, wanted to make ourselves Jewish, we want to make ourselves anything else except African. So for me, Japan has really boosted that for me, and that's why I started the Afrikan Magick Temple from Japan. But then we came to Ghana to put it on physically. Even though I had my small shrine in Japan, and I was attending to people. But then when we came here back to Ghana, that's why we opened it big. So Afrikan Magick Temple originally actually started from Japan, not in Ghana, and because of what I have seen.
Oh, and this is very, very fascinating to hear from your voice. So would you say that like something like a pouring libation is something that we could also observe in Asia or in Japan?
Yes. Yes, of course. One thing I have noticed, because when I was in Japan, I traveled a lot in Japan. I have been to almost everywhere in Japan because of my entertainment magic business. So sometimes I will go to places where cars don't even go. As car driving automobile does not go, but Japan is a country of cars. We have to get down and walk, carry our luggages on our back, or people will carry it for them, and we'll climb all the mountains, go to the top of the mountain, and it's a whole village with a shrine, and people are there, and we'll go and perform magic in these shrines and places, as like this time that there is summer festival in Japan. Like this kind of time when I was in Japan is one of my busiest time, because I have to be traveling from one place to another just to entertain people even in the festivals. And one thing, when Japanese want to, Japanese pour libation, but maybe not the way the Africans pour it, but they pour libation. When the Japanese want to make a construction, or when the Japanese opens a new business, what they do is that they fetch alcohol in a glass, and then they fetch salt also in another container. They'll put this salt and a glass on the land. They will make a bamboo leaves to make kind of a fence, like a small shrine. They will leave this at where the construction is going to take place for about a week or maybe 2 weeks, I don't know exactly. What they are doing with that is that they are appeasing the spirits of that land before they will put their building on it. They want the spirits to know that they are coming to disturb them, or they are coming to do something here. So they are asking for permission by giving that drink and all this thing. And then when they the days that they are supposed to put it, I don't know the exact amount, I think 7 days or maybe less or maybe more, I don't know. Then when that day has passed, they will now come and take these drinks and pour it away, and then they will start their construction, whether it is going to be a skyscraper or whatever. The Japanese will first appease the spirit of that particular portion of the land, or the whole land that is there, the spirit that is there. They have to give it a drink, and then before doing anything that they want to do. So that is very, very interesting and very, very beautiful, because you respect nature and nature will respect you back.
Yeah. So there must be a place for nature in a culture.
Everything.
And this connects with a question from Sankofa Hema from Ghana, and was asking is that people think that it's just science and technologies that help these Asian countries to develop, as if there's no space, and spirituality, tradition has no space in that. What is your idea? What is your position?
Yes, I said earlier that the Japanese build on the old. That's why in the city they have shrines. Even in Tokyo, as the capital of Japan, where Tokyo is one of the most advanced cities in the world, if not the advanced one, but it's one of the most advanced cities in the world, Tokyo. You even see shrines on the roadside where people put something like they put drink or salt, or they offer something. And Japanese are not only technological people, they have a deep root in their tradition, their culture of ancestral worship or ancestral respect. You cannot build anything in a vacuum. You build on something. So Japan as a country was built on what the ancestors left, and they have not forgotten that. So they always give respect to the ancestors. So when you go to every Japanese home, in their houses, every true Japanese has got a shrine where they have their ancestors, their names written on a plank of wood, or a special ceramic or stone or whatever, and they put them all down. And this shrine, every morning they go to this, pray to it before getting out of their house to go and be do their busy activities in the day. They don't do anything. They will not go out just like that. If the person does not have it in his apartment, but then in his village, in their main home, their fathers or grandmothers or grandfathers have this thing, and they do that prayers every day before going out. So, and also, like I was talking about the Obon festival. The festival is a festival about bringing the dead spirits of the ghost back home. You bring the spirit of the dead people from the cemetery. They bring them home, keep them in the house for about a week, feeding them, changing water for them, giving them alcohol, giving them a tea and all these things, for giving them fruits and cooking foods for them. And slowly after a week, they go back into bring the spirits back to the graveyard, and then it will be like, okay, goodbye for now. This is where you are staying. Next year we'll come and get you back to the house again. So please try to overlook us, cover us, take care of us, intervene and interfere and intervene in intercede on our behalf until we come back to you. We will be praying to you every day so that you can continue making us to progress. This is what Japanese do. And those of you who are very conversant with the Japanese sword, the katana, the Japanese sword, which is so sharp that when you drop a silk on it from the air, when it comes, it will just cut it by itself. You don't even need to swipe it. But then the sword is the katana as a sword is a spirit, and Japanese worship it as a god. So when a dead person dies, before they will put you into the crematorium to cremate you or to put you inside the burning fire so that you go, they have to put a sword over you when your body is laying in state. And that sword is given to the dead body to use as a spiritual weapon when they are going to fight any energy or any negative energy that will stop them from going to their home of their ancestral home in spiritual world. So Japanese are more spiritual than physical. If you don't know, you need to read more about Japan.
And we have at this purpose a question from the Andre Radford from Arizona, US. And was asking is, so do you believe that Japanese got these spiritual practices from Africa?
No.
Or are they Africans who migrated to Japan?
Okay, Japanese did not get the spirit from Africa. But then there is part of the Japanese history which says that there are original people who were living in Japan were black people. Well, I may not call them Africans because maybe the time that they even moved from Africa, because it is known in history and in science that the origin of human beings is from Africa. That is already known. So maybe the time that they even moved from Africa, Africa did not exist as a continent. Maybe the Gondwana land, which was the whole continents put together before they started breaking, maybe that's what broke away, and then some were left over on different parts, and some of us are left over here. But whichever it is, the Japanese archipelago, they call it, is originally was also had black people, and there is still a name for these black people in Japanese called the Ainu, which is they are part of Japan, or the original inhabitants of Japan. Whether the Japanese who came from the Mongolia or came all the way from the Eskimo or whatever have learned this thing, but I believe strongly that nature has given everybody the opportunity to worship and pray in their own place. It's not anybody borrowing from someone or taking from somebody or taking from anybody. Wherever you are born, nature will provide the way to worship him and worship your God. So I wouldn't say that it is from Africa that the Japanese have taken it, because Africa is not the only place that they have a traditional spirituality.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for this conversation, and also we have other people joining, of course, from Germany, someone from St. Louis, Missouri, and as we said, this is about Japan, and this is also about Africa, and specifically about Ghana and about voodoo in the Ewe culture. So, going more into the Ewe culture and into a topic that is there's a lot of interest for this topic, for libation. And people have been asking also during one of the previous live streaming and also on the Revolution page and Afrikan Magick Temple page about how do people can perform a libation and what are the techniques to perform a libation. It's like certain people are also asking how can they do a libation if they are not in a countryside, if they don't have a garden, if they live in an apartment, if they don't have a ground like with a terrain. And so other people are asking which hands should they use, the right hand, the left hand, and how is the libation different if it's a libation for the ancestors, if it's a libation for a spirit. So what do we do now? It's like to ask Christopher about this and also ask like Lido to show us.
Okay, the topic of libation, where to pour libation, how to pour libation, it's not as difficult as the way people are imagining it. But to pour libation simply is to take a liquid, most probably an alcohol or water. You pour it down and then you call your ancestors, the names of the people that you can remember on your maternal and your paternal side, also your friends that you think that they are acquaintances that are close to you, children, brothers, sisters, cousins, and people that had passed on. They are the people's names that you pour, you call while pouring libation and ask for them, asking them to intercede on your behalf to protect you on the spiritual plane, so that anything coming on the spiritual plane to manifest on the physical plane, they should be in charge to remove it from happening to you. That is what the libation pouring all is about. And if you are living in a city, and you think that because you live in a city, you live in a condominium, you live in an apartment, or you live in a block house, a cemented house, so you can't pour libation, that's very wrong. You can also pour libation on a tile floor. The gods and the ancestors will accept it. But one thing is that when you do so, you will be wetting the area, and if you are not careful, you will be attracting insects and all other things to come and then worry you, or you yourself may even walk and slip in it and fall down and hurt yourself. So what I have come to learn from people and from my own experience is that you get a bowl like this one. You get a bowl like this one and fetch sand into it. Fetch a sand into this one. Locate a particular space in your room, your bedroom, your kitchen, in your living room, wherever you choose to connect with your ancestors or the spirits. And once you get that place, make that place a sacred place. When I say a sacred place, keep that place specially for the ancestors. What I do is that I get a small corner in my bedroom. When I was living in a single apartment, very small one, I just got a small corner in that place, and then I fetch sand into any bowl. It does not necessarily have to be an African earthenware. No, anything that can contain sand and hold the liquid so that it does not spill. That is what you do. So I'm going to demonstrate how I pour libation in my shrine and how I used to pour libation when I was living in an apartment or a condominium, because I had also lived in metropolitan cities around the world, but I always poured libation. So okay, we take this as your drink and this as your glass. And when you do, make sure that you leave your drink and a glass always where you pray, so that even in your absence, the ancestors can come and fetch a drink for themselves and drink, and then they will always know that you are located. That could be called your altar. It does not need to be a table like this only, that is called altar. Wherever you pray to your God and call your God is your altar. You should always remember that. It's not that it has to be a fanciful altar with candles and gold and no. Just find a glass, a bottle of drink, and a glass, empty glass, and you're going to fetch your water when you want to do libation. We fetch the water or alcohol into a glass like this. Just a simple thing. Here you go. It is good to remove your slippers or your shoes or sandals when you are praying to the ancestors or to spirits. It's only in Christianity you wear shoes into church. Other religions don't wear shoes into their church ever. I don't know why in Christianity people can wear shoes into their church, but that is fine. That's their problem. Muslims even don't wear slipper into their mosque. I don't think Japanese are wearing shoes into their holy shrine. Maybe there are places up to where you can wear shoes, but there should be places that people will remove shoes. So I am going to start praying to the spirits that I work with. I use my right hand. The reason why I use my right hand is that the spirits are a living entity. They are just like human beings. And we believe that in the part of the world that we are coming from, we use our right hand to eat. So we use the right hand to offer drink to the spirits. So I'll start this. I may not be able to explain or translate all into English for you, but those who speak Ewe will understand some portion, because the way I'm going to speak will not be like a normal way of speaking Ewe. Oh, ago mauga, ago mauga, ago mauga, mauga sobolisa meduago, mauga kitikata meduago, mauga ese joto, ame joto, ese na anuame, ese te anuame. Woman of every dokuno baby maybe and woman of you, Bena, woman of you, and dokuno of you, send a polipo saying that Tafia, may your duago. Eh, may your shame, ham for us, over to Duago, your semi for us, over to Duago, may you abraxas, may yours, ya Greco Duago, may your tadreto baby Mopua, who veso at all, veso, the camera of Duago. Eh, may your manos or G, and you do so, Kakachikas, Bosha, Dremia, La Famina Global, a Piva, Global, Hollow, your when you are in bar, my you flock, a for crying Bamaduadica, when you have Mateku, Etega. If you don't drink alcohol, then you have to pray with alcohol. What you do is that when you pray up to a point that you pour the drink, it is usually that whatever you give to the spirit, you must taste it yourself. Because some spirits will not take what you give them if you don't eat it or you don't taste it yourself. But because some people may not drink alcohol, when you pray that, now the last prayer I was praying to the Mother Earth, Anyiba Majoflo, which it is called in Yoruba, Babalu Aye. Aye means the earth, or Baba is father of the earth. So I'm praying to the Mother F, where we call it, we don't call it Father F, we call it Mother F in this part. It is only in other places they call it Father F, where we in Ghana we say Mother F, or in Ewe we say Mother F. So because if I were not an alcohol, a person who drinks alcohol, what I would do is that I would just hold the glass like this, and I will use my tongue to touch this portion of my arm, which shows that I have tasted it. The spirit will understand that I have tasted it when I do like this. But because I drink alcohol, then I am going to drink small to show the spirit that I am not feeding them with poison. You know, in my earlier Facebook live, I tried to explain to you that the spirits are just like we human beings. They are also beings, but they are not made out of the 5 elementary factors that make human being. That is why they are limited. Some are only made of 2 factors, some are 3, some are 4. We as human beings, we are made out of the 5. That's why we are physical. So they are also beings. So when you are feeding them, if you are going to feed them poison, when they notice it, they will not take it. So when I do that, because I tasted a little bit, which means that I also drink alcohol, I am not a malam. I'm African traditionalist. Alcohol is our part of our practice. So then I pour it down like this. That is when I call some of the spirits that work with me. But then I did not only call the spirits that work with me, I started by calling on the God, the Creator, Mauga Sobolisa, God, the operator, the one that controls everything, Mauga Kitikata, and then God, the day of destiny, Mauga Esse, the one that brings each and every individual into the world according to their destiny. So those were the first energies that I called. So Mauga Sobolisa, Mauga Kitikata, Mauga Esse. Esse Joto means the one that has come before I am. So I called them on, and then I went on to call Abraxas. I called the Shemehamforash because I do some Kabbalah. And in Kabbalah, there is the 72 holy names of God, of the Hebrew God, which is the one that most people are conversant with is Jesus. But then in the Hebrew Kabbalah, there are 72. Jesus is only one single out of the 72. But most people don't know. People don't even know the rest. So I call upon those Shemehamforash and the Semiphorash. And when I left that one, I went into calling the Abraxas. Abraxas is the divinity that is the Christ consciousness. I'm not talking about Jesus of Nazareth, but I'm talking about that consciousness that pervades everything, whether it's in Buddha, in Krishna, in Shiva, in Muhammad, or in Jesus of Nazareth. There is one energy called the Christ consciousness, which pervades everything. That is called the Abraxas. So when we initiate you in Afrikan Magick Temple into the temple, we initiate you into Abraxas, and Abraxas is the one that breaks this into the psychic plane, whereby you can be connected to the psychic plane. So when you go into dictionary or into Wikipedia and all these things, when you find the Abraxas, they will explain to you what the Abraxas is. So those energies, I work with them, so I call them. Now I am going, then after the Abraxas, I call the Mother F, on which I stand, because at least it's the one that feeds me, and when I die, it's the one going to take me away. So I also pray to it. So now I go to the other divinities that I work with personally, which some may be known to people, some may not be known to people, but then they are the ones that I work with. Then I call Akain, Bechuvakai, Monovakain, Jevovakain, Busuvakain, Trovovakain, Manuvakain, Dufiwakain, Manu, Atawaka, Gavakain. Beli pa vimegba hajado akopla ba majojo fiato ba so mete dojo me yo mi nu da okogba obo akaku apemi o zango me yo mi play vi yo ra keke wo jo pata jo maku afoke me vole mo je me vole vudo me gbere okokolo ku atole fofo me jogbenyo oke ebe jogbenyo me to aye mo jogbenyo me to aye ma moji oto anu kware kple venyinyi le pe megbeto va dzo tuzo kple gu o no teƒe ɖeka o dzɔkpata be yele hafi dzovɔ va dzo nyenye dzɔkpata o be fia dzɔkpata metro megbe da molo avifa gbe ɣlie dina dzɔkpata ne nan afi nya dzo lo dzɔkpata dzɔkpata nya teƒe me yo mesi me gbɔ dzi do to be dente avakpe luluti zugbo lu adzima ogboju klo do dzalo le pe nkɔme valentine fafa me va alo dzo na kpefu agosa kpate me yo atigeli me yo gorovo du me yo ra kenken alafia. Then I pour the drink down. Now I call my I'm going to start with my ancestors now. But then an ancestor is a person who died and passed on. But our stool, which is the family unification point, or where the ancestors and we the living meet, is the stool. Sometimes it's called chieftaincy stool, chieftaincy stool, or whatever it is. So I'm going to call that stool because of that stool I am. Because if I was not born in that family, maybe I would have been born in a different family. But because I am born, or I was born in that family, I pay homage and respect to that stool too. So the name of the stool is Geje. So I'll call his name. Oh, Togbe Geje. Now I'm using both hands. I am not using only the right or the left. I'm using both hands. So I pour it. That is my direct ancestral base from which we, the living and the dead, meet. So, oh, Togbe Geje. Now I'm going on to the ancestors, and I'm using my left hand because we believe that the right hand is for the living because we use it to eat. So when people pass on to the other side of the thing, they are regarded as on the left side. They are no more on the right side of life. So they are on the left side because in our culture, the right represents the living and then the left represents the dead. Now I use the right to pray to the spirits that are working with me as a living entities. Now I am using the left to call my ancestors. Meyo brahini meyo bobochi meyo ngbe meyo foli koko mo de ke gomni godo kluche kuma komnaga ni ba kwa akademia yi meyo tonye kospeku akubia yo nanya akoso agoku efoni koku geje tasinya mosi fusi jam koso brako bra meyo mi meyo mama nye gbojo mbara to gbonya agoku kofi akubia mensa dori epe ngbe peku no kwa harana mi keke meyo ponye Celestine ya akubia Katrina akubia fonya sense kojo fonya ya oben akubia meyo mi ba kwa meyo miasro ewo mvo atuche akubia me kwa harena oyo Cecilia akpene eka tepe mensa ba kwa hane miano kuto me nefa na mi gongongo mi na gbegbonu nefa na nyichema no yemeyo awuno tuji boko tuji tobo tuji meyo kinikini hasese boju da barasu baragonana ba kwa ha meyo boko adafliso agbovi boko afacha ajoge kuto me nefa na mi gongongo mi na gbegbonu nefa na mano godo dagbe meyo when I did this one, I called my grandfather, my grandmother, my uncles, my junior sister which passed on, my niece, and all the people who were close to me. I called my teachers who taught me the Bokors that I have learned from, who had been in partnership when they were alive. I called their names too, and I gave them drink. And I am telling them that wherever they are in this universe, when they sleep, they should sleep in peace. There should be happiness in wherever they are, and they should in turn send happiness to me on this phase of life too. This is how we pour libation, because you must have a purpose. You must have a reason, and you must know why you are pouring libation. You don't just pour things down and say, drink, come and drink. Who are you calling to come and drink? You must mention the people who you are inviting to come and drink. You don't just say, I'm pouring libation. You must invite the people that you think that will play a good part in your life on this side. Mind you, don't go and pray to any of your enemy because they will come and worry you. Because if somebody who had been an enemy to you in this life and passed on, and you are praying to and calling that person's name, then you are inviting the person to come and be part of your life again. So you are inviting trouble for yourself. So mind you, you pray to the people that you know that can fight for your cause. People who can stand in when danger comes and they will prevent you from danger. They are the people you will invite when you are praying. You don't just pray because you say you are pouring libation and you call someone who wanted to shoot you and unfortunately killed themselves, and then you want them to come again. So now you are inviting them. You can't see them this time. When they put the gun on you, you are gone. So this is libation pouring. So I call my father, my mother, my grandfather, my great-grandfather, and all those people who I remember. I gave them drink. And these people die a peaceful death. So I pray to them in one place. There is the belief in our system that when people die a traumatic death or accidental death, since they did not want to die or they did not die through sickness or natural cause, they are not at peace. They are still angry, and we call such people the living dead. They are dead, but they are alive. And in Voodoo, they have a very strong place. That's why the spirit that I pray to first, which is Akai, is the overseer of all people who died traumatic death. So he is the one who controls them, and I have that spirit with me. So when I want to pray now, I have some family members who died through accident, and I'm not going to abandon them because they died through accident. So when I am feeding, or I'm giving pouring libation, I'm giving them food, I will not invite them because they were also dear to me, but unfortunately they died at a premature time. At the time that they were supposed to die, according to our belief, they were supposed to die in a peaceful way, but then dying through accidents and all this thing is not regarded as a peaceful way in our culture. So for that, we give respect to that. And I don't feed them together with people who died the peaceful way. You don't feed them the same place. So now I'll start by pouring their own here. Oh, my dog, go, my vinny Christian, my your Edwin Kojo Brahina, my Mokosi, Fonia, your Mensa Chaco, Ablosi, your Agbanyo, my your Fonia Coffee Tepe Mensa, my your Togbe Amuji, James Kofi Amuji, my your Skinny Johnson Kofi Navo. A kuto manefana mi go me anagbe gbodu nefana in Germano. Ya te pefi mi mlode. Mi amlofi mi go do mi amlofi mi ne menefa go do baba na mi lo. So this is how I pour libation. And from here I can decide to call all the other spirits that are working with me individually, and the voodoos that I am working with, and give them all drink and tell them that I am wishing them to be strong, so that if anybody who is trying to fight me or disturb my peace, they should face that person, and then they should bring prosperity into my life, they should bring good things into my life, they should bring health and strength into my life, so that I can be alive and continue praying to them, as well as praying to my ancestors. So this is how the pouring of libation is. It's a very simple thing, but people make a big deal out of it as if it is something you have to have a special place to go and pour libation. You can just have a bowl like this and keep a bottle of drink and a cup there, which you designated for the spirits and the ancestors. It's not the same cup that you are using to drink water and drink everything. It's what you will use. You will only use that cup probably during the time you are doing spiritual things and praying, and everybody can drink from it. But it will not be like a normal when people are having fun and then they are just drinking it. So you delegate or designate a particular conco or cup for the ancestors. When the drink is finished, you buy another one to replace. But sometimes you may not have money when the drink is finished. Fetch water from the tap from anywhere, pour for the ancestors. They know that you don't have money. That is when you tell them that they seen that there's no more drink in the bottle. If they want to continue drinking only water, then they should continue drinking water. But if they want you to be able to buy alcohol, they should find money for you. This is what it is, libation pouring. I think I've made myself clear. If people have any question, you can go ahead.
Yes. It was very clear, very clear. We are very grateful. And so, yeah, again, if you have a question, you can start asking your questions.
Yes.
We have one question from the beginning of the streaming,
Yes.
which is about a very interesting topic, a recurrent topic, I would say. It's about dreaming. And the question from Angel Zion is that it is said that eating in your dream is a bad thing.
Yes.
So is there a way to prevent this, and how?
Okay. In our culture, or in most voodoo cultures, eating in a dream is not good. Why it is not good is that it is believed that the witches are training you to join their gang. And then when you continue eating in your dream also, what happens is that good things don't happen to you on the physical plane because the witches are beginning to conquer your house. And most, when you see yourself eating meat, anything meaty in your dream is not good. You are dining together with the witches.
What about sweet things?
Sweet things? Oh, I don't know much about sweet things, but in Africa you don't dream about eating sweet things. Mostly you eat pepper, you eat meat, you eat all the things that you like enjoying. So, but then of course people can dream about eating sweet things. But in every culture, when you are eating in a dream, it signifies that witches are worrying you. But also, when you eat too much before going to bed, when you eat too much food before going to bed, I mean, if the time between your last food before bedtime is too close, you tend to have dreams. Sometimes you even have dream of the food you were eating before going to bed, and you are again continuing to enjoy it, but still it is not advisable. What you can do to prevent it is, one, don't eat too late so that you don't have nightmares. And because when you eat too late and you are sleeping, your body is still trying to digest the food, so the whole energy is going into the digestion, and your mind cannot be free. So you will not have peaceful sleep. You will be having nightmares. Another is, if you are a person who can wake up from your dream consciously, because some people like me, when I am having a bad dream, I'll tell myself, no, this is not the dream I want, and I can wake up. I can decide to wake up from my dream. Wake up consciously, and then go back to dream again and change the dream, the way the dream is going. I can consciously change it and say, no, this is not the way I want to dream, and then I can change my dream consciously. I don't know how many people can do that, but for me, if I am having a dream that I'm not enjoying it, I can change it. I wake up and I go, or I can even be in the dream and I say, no, this is not the dream I want to dream, and I change it, and I begin to dream another kind of dream. If you are such a person and you realize that you are about to eat in a dream, you just say, no, I don't eat. Then you move on, and you see that immediately you become conscious that, no, I don't eat. You see that food part of the dream will just pass you by, and you will continue with something else. So those are the two things. And if it continues, even after trying all this, and it continues, then you as a person must try to have some herbal bath in order to cleanse yourself from whatever is trying to come across your way.
Yeah.
Does it make sense?
Yes. And there are people also like McDodge is reading that he has been eating a lot in dreams.
You should stop.
So yeah, that's the suggestion for it.
Yes.
So then we have a question about libation from Annalisa. She's a friend of mine, also an anthropologist from Italy.
From Italy.
Mm-hmm. And what she's asking is, what is the difference between pouring libation using water or alcohol and pouring blood through animal sacrifices?
Blood pouring is not called libation. Blood giving blood to a spirit is not called libation. Libation is only out of drinks, liquid, of water or alcohol, sweet drinks. Sometimes some people use sweet drinks like Sprite, Lamley, Lion Killer to pour libation. Mostly when we have certain spirits that don't drink alcohol. There are spirits, there are some voodoos, they don't drink alcohol at all. They will only take a sweet drink. Those voodoos are mostly what we call asiyo, like attraction spirits. Spirits that try to attract things to you. Some of them, not most, but some of them don't take alcohol. Because it is believed that you want to bring sweetness. You bring sweetness into your life, so you give sweet drink. Spirit like Alajadu, spirit like Sakla, and they have many Zibizaba. I don't know whether people have heard about Zibizaba or Gabara Gaibo. We will call it Gabara, Abiha. That's why in the olden days there were not too many women. The men were plenty more than women. And if you want to also marry a woman and also continue your generation, you have to fight over a woman before you get one. So that was the time that our ancestors got those kind of spirits, that if the woman is even in the Volta region and you call the woman to come to your door, when you do the proper rituals, then that woman, wherever she is, she will start crying and be calling your name until she gets to your door. Now that women are more than men, women should also start using it so that men should run from wherever they have to come to their door. Women are more than men, so women should begin to use Gabara Vieja. They begin to use Zibizaba, and then to let people come. The spirit is still there, but then it's not many people who have the real one. Yes, it's not many people who have the real one. But then, you know, voodoo, until you test it and you see it, you cannot know. You only look at it as a story.
And to continue on this, like, so,
blood pouring,
it's a matter
it's not a libation.
So
it's like giving food. You know, I had earlier said something about spirits. Spirits use the life force in the blood or the life force of an animal to empower themselves, to be able to be strong enough to work. I also said earlier that they are not made up of all the elements that human beings are made out of, or the factors that human beings are made out of. So when we kill an animal, like a chicken, goat, or whatever you kill for spirit, the time you kill the animal and the blood starts going, that is when the life force goes with the blood. So because if there's no blood in an animal, the animal is dead, right? Even in human beings. So when the blood is going, that is when the life force goes, and that is the time that the spirit takes that life force and empower itself and do the work that you ask it to do for you. So killing an animal or giving blood to spirit has nothing to do with libation. It has to do with empowering the energy or the divinity or the spirit that you are working with, feeding it, just like we feed the witches, we feed the ancestors so that they can be empowered in order to do our work. That's what we do for when you kill an animal for a voodoo. It is not libation plural. The drink part is what is the libation.
So the blood is more related to the feeding, in order that they can do the work.
To give them energy. It has nothing to do with libation is the drink, but the blood is feeding of the spirit.
And of course then there are different preferences among spirits about...
Every spirit depends on what it eats. Like Adando Kunonyaga, there's a pot at the door there, at the inside the house. It's just a pot. That spirit does not eat goat. So when I kill goat, I cannot give it goat blood. It eats duck and ram. So if I, by mistake or intentionally, feed it with goat blood, it's going to attack me, because I know that it does not eat that. It's just like you don't eat pork and then they serve you pork to eat. Means they want to remove you, they want to kind of let your power go away from you. So every spirit has what they eat. Like Abochi here does not eat goat. It eats only ram and pigeon, and sometimes white fowl, no red fowl. So I am not going to go and feed Abochi with red fowl or goat. So every spirit has what they eat, just like we human beings. If you like pizza, then it's pizza you eat. If you like lasagna, it's your own. If you want to eat spaghetti or whatever, it is what you like. I like fufu, which is with benkwai, the dechi fufu with bola, goat meat, hot one. So people have their preferences. If you cook a whole pig and put in front of me, I will not eat because I don't like it. So it is with the spirit world. What they like is what you feed them. Yes.
So can we say that water is like an emergency drink when there's nothing else?
Water, everything drinks water. Even animals drink water. The plants drink water. Everything drinks water. So water is a universal drink where you can use anywhere in the world. You can find it everywhere in the world. And when you are in an emergency situation, you use it. The other day, Theophilus, who was here last Sunday, I was in the house when he called me that the mother-in-law fell into comatose, and they rushed her to Reach Hospital. And he does not have money. No, they took her initially to a private clinic, which is closer by, because she went into coma. They have to rush it her. And he does not have money. Or he didn't have money at that time. But then if this woman remains inside this coma, it's going to cost him money, because he knows what his pocket is telling him at that moment. So he called me from the hospital and said, Papa, this thing is happening. What can I do? I cannot go to the shrine, and I'm not home. So, and Papa, you know, I don't even have money in my pocket at the moment. I said, do you get anybody? You have about 10 pesos, 20 pesos? He said, yes. Buy pure water. So he bought a sachet of pure water, and I asked him to go to a corner somewhere, or he can even stand anywhere. Even if people are plenty there, he should just be pouring down and be saying the things in his mind. And within a short time, the woman woke up from the comatose, and they brought her back. He didn't have to pay plenty money. So it is a universal drink you can find anywhere, and in any emergency at any time. Water is always available, unless of course if you are in the desert and if there's no water, then that's a different place. But you can pour sand, anything that you can, because the God that we are calling, the spirits that we are calling, the energies that we are calling is inside of us. So you are the power. You need to know that you are the power, so you have to use your willpower to make that power work for you. Because if people are looking into the sky thinking that one day they will go to heaven and enjoy, and then they are suffering here and they continue suffering here, they are allowed to suffer here. The pastor is enjoying here and is promising you that you will enjoy in heaven. But the truth is that why won't he also wait and enjoy in heaven? Why is he enjoying his beautiful car, his beautiful house, air conditioned, and chop good, chop better here? And he is telling you, don't worry, God will give you when you get there. Why? The pastor should give you what he's enjoying, so he should wait for God. The power is inside of us. We are the gods. In Oriental philosophy, they say you are your own gods. In Hinduism, it is taught, it's in Buddhism, it is taught that you are your own gods. What do they mean by that? Means the essay, the destiny that you came into this world with, which I use in the prayer, is inside of you. It came here with you and is going to live with you. And it's the God that came here with you. Each and every individual has that. And you only need to develop it and then empower it so that it works for you. Because avuto mase bavumele now. Now I speak heavy. Avuto mase bavumele now. If you own a dog and you are a hunter or you have a dog, if you yourself, the master of the dog, you are weak, your dog will be a weak dog. If the dog, you the master, you are strong, your dog also will be strong and be able to catch animal for you or be able to defend you. But if you are weak, the dog, when they say, hey, the dog will put his tails in between his legs and start running away. But if you are very powerful and you empower your dog with force and tell the dog, do this, do that, the dog will be active. So, if you are a dog, if you are an owner of dog and you are not strong or you are not tough on your dog can never catch anything for you. What it means simply, or what I am trying to say simply, is that if you have a spirit or you have a voodoo or you are introduced to a voodoo and you don't work that voodoo by yourself and you are thinking that the voodoo will just work on its own, it's not going to work. It is you who have to put your will, your energy, your power into the voodoo to let it work for you. Then they'll say, oh, this man's voodoo works a lot. But if you just put it there, you are waiting for the voodoo that you should go and do. You must empower it in order to let it empower you.
Yeah, thank you. And we have also a bunch of questions. And I will start asking for the question that relates directly to libation, and then we move to the other question. So I will not ask the question in
today. We are not going to be long because we have a reading to do. The spirits are saying that they are back, so we should be finishing and then go to attend to them.
So we don't have like let's say another 15
to 20 minutes.
Yes. So we go straight to the question. One question is from Cassia. She asking like we're talking about libation to positive spirits. So if there is a negative spirit, should we ask our ancestor to fight that negative spirit? How does it work? And this is our art. Is there such a thing as a good or bad spirit?
Yes and no. What is a positive spirit and what is a negative spirit? A spirit that favors you is your positive spirit. And a spirit that is against you is your negative spirit. Someone's positive spirit will be your negative spirit. And so another person's negative spirit is someone's positive spirit. So when we look into the reality, there is nothing called positive spirit or negative spirit. It is what is against you is what you call negative. And what is for you, you call positive. In a very simple sentence. That's all that it is. So when you are faced with something that is challenging you, then that is your negative spirit. Yes, you ask your ancestors to remove that from your path. That's why we pray every day. That's why we pour libation for. That our ancestors should guide us and protect us from anything that will be against us or whatever is against us. Our ancestors and the spirits that we work with should be empowered with our libation and our killing of animals or whatever for them, so that they can protect and prevent us from falling into trouble. Is that okay? Or if the question is not clear, answer is not clear, you can still elaborate and give me something I can answer more.
Yeah, of course, you can always adapt and ask for clarification about the question and the answers. Yeah. So also relating to ancestors, like if we have
let me drink. Go ahead.
We have a Brandon Long and asking about how do I take the first step to honor the spirits around me? This is from Brandon. So the first step to honor the spirits around you.
The first step to honor the spirits around you is to acknowledge that there are spirits in the first place. But if you keep denying that the world is only a visible world, and you don't recognize the invisible world, then you are denying the presence of spirits. Whether you deny them or you don't deny them, they exist. Your denial of them does not stop their existence. So to acknowledge that there are spirits is the first honoring of the invisible world. To acknowledge that there are things around you that you don't see. You know, when you even go into Kabbalah and all this, they call certain spirits gnomes, undines, sylphs, and then salamanders. They are all in the spirit world. Some of them are airy spirits, some are fiery, some are luminous, and some are solid spirits. When you go into a new building or a forest, when there is no one, and you are there alone and you start walking, you begin to feel goose pimples. Sometimes you feel like goose pimples around your body. You feel that there is a presence, but you can't see it. And only that if you are brave and you encourage yourself, oh, there's not anything, then you walk like a man then. But the presence is there. You could feel it. Naturally, you will feel that there's something, even though you can't see, you cannot see it, but you know. Even if you go into a building that is just empty place, a house, a new house, or you rent a place, and you move in, and you are alone, you feel the presence of some energy. Something is there. But what is this? It's an energy, only you can't see it, but it's seeing you. It may not be there for harm or anything, but it's also just looking for a place, like a homeless chicken or homeless people is looking for a place to stay. So it sees that this place is an empty place and is hiding there or relaxing. But then when more people move into it and activities start, then you see that it moves out. So the acknowledgement of the presence of invisible beings, which we call spirits, and in Hebrew we say voodoo, is the first honoring of spirituality. To realize your consciousness and paying respect to them is how you honor them.
Okay, yeah. So we go on with the other question, and John Olaya Iberli asking, can you speak about having a family deity spirits that are connected to let's say different traditions, many religions like Voodoo, Ifa, Congo? How do you find the balance between the experience and dealing with all the spirits that come from different traditions?
Why do you have to find balance of spirit coming from different traditions? I mean, that's the first question I will also answer. I used to answer. If you want to follow Ifa tradition or the Yoruba tradition, then you must be conversant and try to know about the spirits of Ifa or the Yoruba spirit. If you want to do something to with the Palo Mayombe spirits, then you must get to know about the history of the Congo and all these things to know what it is. Then you get conversant with them. If you want to learn about Voodoo, which is the Eve and Fon spiritual thing, then you have to learn about that. But there is nothing like a balance between here and there, because there is nothing to do comparison. You don't need comparison. Whatever works for you is what you use. Whatever works for you in the spiritual world is what you use. You are not a judge trying to compare which one is higher or this tradition is better than that. The one tradition may be favorable to you to use, but another one may not be favorable to you to use. But whichever works for you, you relate to that. There's nothing. It's not a competition like how the diaspora, somebody feel that this one is better than that, because they don't know. That's why they say those things. If you know, you don't compare.
Okay. So also about ancestor. What if you don't know your ancestor? What can you do? This is Christophe Livon asking.
Okay. Do you know your father? If the person know his father or know his mother, then it's okay. You know your ancestors. Unless, of course, you are totally adopted from a background that you don't know your father, you don't know your mother, and you are adopted into a family where you have no root lines. But you will start to pray to the people who are taking care of you, their ancestors first, because at least that is where you are living. That's the one that give you food before you are alive. You must acknowledge those ancestors, and through that you can tell them that whoever your ancestors are, you cannot know. So they that you know, they should connect you to your ancestors. So when you pour libation for these ancestors that have adopted you, they should now spread it to the people that you don't know. Simple as that. They don't have to go digging DNA and all this. It does not change anything.
Okay. And now I will condense like these two questions because we're having a lot of questions. So one question is about what if my ancestors are full-blown Christians? How do I know if they are for me or against me?
Were they born Christians from Africa? Africans are not full-blown Christians. Christianity came to Africa. Black man is not a Christian by nature. It was imposed on them. So there is nothing like when your ancestors were Christians. Do you know your first ancestor? Before you say your ancestors were Christians? Black man is not a Christian. We were forced to become Christians and Muslims. So you can't say that your ancestors were Christian. From which race of Israel?
But like, what about the direct ancestors? Like, let's say grandfather.
Yeah, if your grandfather, grandmother can be ancestor, but your ancestors are not only limited to your immediate grandfather. The people who came from where before they born your great-great-grandfather, you know who they were? Or their blood is not running in your body. Who said they were Christians? Africans were not Christians. We were calling God before Christianity came here. Okay. So there is nothing like Africans saying that my grandfather was a Christian, my great-grandfather was Christian. From where? Which tribe of Israel?
And on this, we have Danielle asking about if a parent dies and that parent was having ill thoughts, like bad thoughts about the person. Should that person be honored and invoked?
Oh, it depends. It depends on the relationship. There are certain times in life and you think that your parents were too hostile to you, and then there is an enmity between you and them, or adversity between you and them. So when that father dies or that mother dies, you feel anger and you don't want to feed. But it's not like you have to start to do any feeding. But if that ancestor or your father or mother, grandmother, or whoever, even a friend, comes out in your reading and says that, oh, please, I am sorry, or forgive me, or whatever I was doing was not an ill way. I'll use myself as an example. My father gave birth to 24, 25 of us. And I am like the number 14 child of my father. When I was growing up, my mother abandoned me when I was about 4 years. And my father had many wives, but he couldn't take me to the house of any of his wives or his houses where he was. So he gave me to one of his cousins to take care of me. So when I was growing up, I always didn't like my father at all, because I felt that they all abandoned me. My mother wasn't there, he also wasn't there, and I had to grow. And then I got to some age, then my father brought me to his house to live with my stepmother, who really took good care of me like her own child. But I couldn't really feel that fatherly love. Even though my stepmother took care of me like her own child, she's not my mother. And I could not relate the way, it's not like I cannot cry, feel pain and be running, crying, and then come to her to console me. Because I was aware that she isn't my mother, even though she was doing her best to take care of me. But then that was another thing. So my father was always having conflict with me. I was always having a problem with my father, and I felt that he did not love me. But when I grew up and I left home, I realized that the way my father was bringing me up, he was bringing me up to be independent, so that I will not be dependent on any of my siblings or brothers or sisters in the future, because I am a lone child in that line. So if he did not train me tough to be independent, maybe when he is gone, I will become dependent on my other siblings, and maybe it will not be well with me. So I grew up, and I was in training in India when my father died. I even told him when he was alive that I'm going to leave. I will not come to his funeral. I'm not going to take his name, and I don't want any property that he has. I don't want him to give me anything. And I left home. But after my father died, I didn't know, because I was in training in India. But I kept thinking about him continuously, and we weren't really good friends when I left home. But eventually I came to realize that my father was actually making me to be tough in order to be independent, which I am independent for many years now. I've been on my own. I don't depend on my father's properties or anything. I don't ask for even a pin. My father has a lot of properties in our village. I don't even ask for a pin from his things. Everything that I have is my own. I did not depend on my father, or I made it through my own struggles. So in this kind of case, I will say that maybe my father didn't love me, so I will not pour libation for him. But from the realization that, oh, my father was really actually training me to be independent, that's why for me, I forget about whatever had happened between me and my dad, and I pour libation for him. And once in a while, he may come in my dream and then give me this thing. Or when I'm doing a reading, sometimes he may come and tell me to do something, or he has seen something that is going to happen, so I should be careful. So that's it. So it depends on the way you come to realization. It is up to you when you want to pour a libation for the person or not. But then nobody forces anyone to pour a libation for someone you don't want to pour a libation for. It is not done. Spirituality is not forced on people. People realize it. It's only religion that is forced on people. Whether you like it or not, you must do it. So it is up to you. When you realize, or you go back deeper into yourself and realize what it is, then you know what to do. Yes, a question from
Let's say, for instance, the parent whilst alive, not every day, there's totally no love at all.
When they were alive?
Yes. So such a parent, how do you strengthen the bond as they are dead? How do you communicate with them as they are dead or gone? No love whatsoever.
That's why I'm trying to say that, like my case, I gave myself as a sample, because I thought
your father was not cursing you every day or insulting you or abusing you. There are parents who seriously abuse their children as if they were not their own. Terribly. So how do you connect with such a dead parent?
But if you cannot connect with that dead parent, you will never know your ancestors that came before your father or those parents. So, and they are blood, even as evil, that as abusive as that father may be, you still running his or that his DNA. You must acknowledge.
So how?
You must acknowledge that present, that even as
what
stupid
about
as.
If through a reading, you still realize there's no love?
So you don't. If you through a reading and the reading advise you that don't associate with this person, you can cut that person off. You don't need to pray to that particular person, but you pray to other people. There was a case in my life. I had a cousin that I loved so much, and not knowing he wanted to kill me, but I just opened my heart to him, and he even went to the Satan telling some voodoo to destroy me. And that happened. I did not know. And when he got sick, I became crazy and I was running around trying to get help from everywhere just to keep him alive. And then later my spirit told me that, oh, your love is so great. You love your cousin so much. And only God knows. But when he becomes okay, ask him what he did against you. But unfortunately, he never recovered. He passed on. So there was no way I could ask him what he planned against me. But because I have a very strong essay, my destiny is very, very strong and stubborn. So I strengthen it each day and every day. So my destiny is so stubborn that if you think that I'm just so open and I don't attack people and you can just attack me, that is up to you, between you and your God and my destiny. They will deal it out. Yes, question.
Yeah, and also like from Janice, like they were asking a question about the ancestors being Christians. Like she clarified, I think, and she said like their question is more about if the grandmother or the grandfather followed Christianity.
Yes.
Would that affiliation, that religious affiliations, affect in a way?
No, it won't affect that religious affiliation, because nobody is saying that only in voodoo we have ancestors. No one is saying that in voodoo or in African traditional spirituality that they have ancestors. Don't you people know that Jesus Christ is also ancestor of some people? You don't know that Jesus Christ is also an ancestor of someone? Or you people don't know that Abraham too is an ancestor of somebody? Nobody is saying that it's only in voodoo that they have ancestors. In every tradition there are ancestors. So long as people came before you and died and gone, they become ancestors. They can be Christian, they can be Muslim, they can be Hindu, they can be Jain. All ancestors. Ancestors are not limited to voodoo. People who die before you are called ancestors. And I was telling the other day that in Catholicism, they are called saints. We Africans, we call them ancestors. When St. Francis of Assisi, St. Thomas, Matthias of Uganda, and all these people die, they are calling them saints. Now Mother Teresa becomes saint. All these things. You don't know that they have families. Are they not somebody's ancestor? So ancestors are not limited to voodoo or traditional practices. It is in everything. It's just the acknowledgement of the people on whose shoulders you are standing tall. That is what is ancestor. Ancestor is not limited to voodoo, whereby Christianity or Islam come into play. Whether you are a Christian or you are Muslim, you are Hindu, or whatever you call yourself, you have an ancestor. You must acknowledge their presence, and you must acknowledge that because of them, you are what you are today. So respecting them and paying homage to them is not a sin, because without them, you won't be here.
And so now we go to, because since you mentioned destiny, we have a question from like some few minutes ago from Angel Zion, asking about, can you speak about people stealing the good destiny of others? How can you tell that's what they are doing, and how can you combat them?
There is nobody stealing your good destiny. If you make yourself accessible to people and your destiny is not strong, it can be compromised. But it is not like they have stolen it from you, because no one can take another person's destiny. Because even in every language we say that ese joto ame joto, ese na anu ame, ese ti anu ame, ese ame si ame pelebe se. Everybody has their destiny. How can somebody steal your own to where? Where would they steal it to? Well, I mean, you think about it. How can somebody steal your destiny? Because everybody came with their own. Where will the person steal your own to? Where is he going to put it? Destiny is inside of you. How is he going to steal it? And go and put it where? Keep it inside him. Is he going to add to the one he has? It does not exist. People make a lot of assumptions and sayings that somebody stole your destiny. Nobody steals your destiny. Your destiny can be compromised so that it does not work for you. That one I agree. But nobody steals anybody's destiny because everybody comes with their own destiny. No human being have double a destiny inside their body. If you don't know how to work your destiny and your destiny doesn't work for you and people compromised it, then it will not work for you. So it does not mean that somebody stole your destiny. Or maybe the people who could not explain deeper used to say that somebody has stolen your good luck. Stole it away.
Okay, so I was going back to the unanswered question we have. And we have a question from from Mick Patterson from Montgomery, Alabama, asking about a dream. And I'm quoting him now. Why did I have a dream that I saw my deceased auntie in my room? She told me to walk down the alleyway of my house to come in my room. So I did.
The auntie
as soon as it happened, yes. As soon as it happened, she grabbed my arm and I went into another dimension, like a beautiful, happy place. Then I suddenly woke up. What does that mean?
You saw your auntie, and how do I know what it means? Your auntie grabbed your hand and is taking you to a new dimension. I mean, I didn't go into that dimension with you. But then if you say it's a dream, then it's a dream. Maybe it is a reality. Maybe it's not a reality. Because as I said last time, the dreams are, the subconscious mind holds our everything. And then when it is showing things to us and we are able to grab it with our conscious mind before we wake up, then we call it a dream and we are able to narrate it and say what it is. But the subconscious mind holds everything of your future, your past and your present. So whatever you may be seeing your auntie, like the dream you are narrating, I cannot really give you an explanation to it because you said that your auntie asked you to walk and you walk from your room to another room. Whether the walking was in a dream walking or it is sleep walking, that also you need to clarify. And you dreams are dreams. It occurs because it's the subconscious mind, the conscious mind grabbing some information of the subconscious mind. So, and also it also depends on your relationship with that auntie when she was alive, or if she is still alive. What is the relationship of you with that auntie? Was she dead before you are seeing her in your dream? Was she still alive before you are seeing her in your dream? And when you woke up, did you go to her to ask her a question that I had this dream, or it is just that she is dead and you have nobody to ask questions? All these things need to be clarified for me to be able to also tell you what you were seeing.
Okay. And okay, we're about to wrap up, but still these last few questions at least. Joy Alexander asking, can we learn to work with negative spirits?
I had already explained that there's nothing called negative spirit. So what do you mean by learning to work with negative spirit? What spirit is negative? Who call it negative? Who gave the classification? That is a negative spirit. Tell me, who gave the classification that is a negative spirit? There is nothing like negative spirit or positive spirit. A spirit that can work for you is what works for you. If the spirit is against you, you can say it's negative. But why do you want to work with what is against you?
Yeah. And this also links with a question from Cassia that also was asking previously about positive, negative and ancestors. Like if the family feels, for example, the presence of negative energies, negative spirits, they don't know what or who they should that is
address. Why we have spiritualists. People call them soothsayers. People call them Bokor. People call them Vodusi, Hunsi, Huno, Babalawo. What do they? I think they call something Asigwe in Haiti, I think they say something Asongwe or whatever, Asongwe or whatever. They have them with all these things. When you cannot understand something, ask. I am here in Africa. I cannot do everything. If you want to consult to find out whatever is going on, yes, we can do consultation for you. But when you don't understand anything, when it is more than what you can understand, you must go to someone who can do a reading and a spiritual consultation in order to explain to you whatever is happening. But just sitting down and ask, how can I do? It's very hard for anyone to tell you what to do, because you don't know what is even you are feeling. You must know what you are feeling before it can be explained to you. So I will advise that you consult with anyone who you trust that is a good spiritualist, a good communicator or a channeler with the spirit world, to be able to tell you what exactly is happening, and then you will know what to do and how to go about it. Any more questions?
Yeah, from Danielle, that was also thanking you a lot, because the story about you and your father really helped her. So she's also asking, how can one's destiny be compromised? And how do you see that?
Yes, your destiny is you. Because your destiny is what is being clothed with this physical body. That's the spirit that you have inside. When you sleep and the physical body is lying down on the on your bed, part of you is active, what we call dreams. It's moving from one place to another, and it's involved in active activities on another dimension or another plane, which is the psychic plane. That's where you see dreams and all this thing. So your destiny can easily be compromised when you don't strengthen your destiny. Someone can, in every human being, we have the positive destiny and the negative destiny. There are two things. If you go onto the social media, YouTube, and you see our videos, you will see that we talk very much about destiny, negative destiny, and positive destiny. Negative destiny is the destiny that is not favoring you, and the positive destiny is the part of the destiny that favors you. Just as we have day and night, rain and sunshine, man and woman, positive and negative, so it is in everything. Destiny has positive side, and destiny also has negative side, but they are all part of you. When things are going on well for you and life is good and you are enjoying peace, we say that your positive destiny is working for you. That's why in Ewe, when they born a child, they call a child Senyo. A Senyo. And we have somebody here called Sechu Afia. A Se. Destiny. Oh, come on, Sechu Afia. I give it. That is a man they call Sechu Afia. Means destiny has made me, has judged. The judgment of destiny is right. That's what Ewe will call Sechu Afia. And so the destiny, the negative and the positive are there. If your destiny, the positive is stronger than the negative, good things happen in your life. When the negative is stronger than the positive, things don't go the way you want. You struggle. When you are about to catch it, it will just slip through your hand and fly away, and then you start from zero again. You can choose to cry, you can choose to wail, you can choose to roll on the ground, but it's gone. You better start thinking again. So your destiny can easily be compromised when it is not strong, because people who know how to work destiny can invoke your destiny and tell your destiny that you are not taking good care of it, so what does he want to eat? Let me finish this answer. what does your destiny want to eat? And if your destiny says, oh, you want to eat chicken soup, they'll cook chicken for it. That means now your destiny can be manipulated by them and direct it to go against you. That is how people compromise your destiny. So you should always try as much as possible to strengthen your destiny. Yes.
How do we strengthen our destinies to prevent it from being compromised? How do you strengthen it? Ways of putting power in our destinies.
In every
Which also
culture,
what Edem was asking about. How do you power your destiny?
yes, I'm welcoming. The Eves, you know, there are 3 gods in Eve cosmology. Listen very carefully. There are 3 gods in Eve cosmology. There is the Mauga Sobolisa, the creator of the worlds. And then there is the Mauga Kitikata, the one that maintains and controls the world, the creative or the created world, or creative world, or the created world. And then there is the Mauga Ese, the god of destiny that gives make human beings, that brought human beings as human beings into the world individually, each one to their essay. No 2 people have the same essay. So for you to be able to strengthen your essay is to know how your essay is to remove the negative destiny and then to set up your positive destiny. An essay, when they set it up for you, you have to give it water, you have to give it drink. Once in a while, you feed it. This is how you strengthen your essay, so that the essay can be strong for you. So when someone want to feed it again, you say, no, I won't eat. Just like your daughter, your child. When you have a child and you give food to the child in the house and the child eats and is full, will not go to another person's house when they are cooking and will be looking whether the food is cooked or it's not cooked. Will not be there and be smelling somebody's soup and put the nose up. So when you feed your child well, your child will not go next door begging for food. So essay, when you strengthen your essay, no one can compromise your essay because you have given it drink, you have given it water, you have given it food. So the essay cannot be compromised. So to strengthen your essay is to know how to work your essay.
That is the only way to strengthen it.
Without it, what do you know about essay?
That is the only way to strengthen it.
Yes. It's menya wanao, esendo menya wanao, menya wanao, esendo menya wanao, evinue jiji lesegbo, esronue dede lesegbo, egakpokpo lesegbo, dekajeje lesegbo, donue wowo lesegbo, menya wanao, sendo menya wanao. What the song means is that to be able to work your essay is not easy. For you to be rich, it is because of your essay. To be poor, it's also because of your essay. To be handsome, it's essay. To be get a good spouse is essay. To get to the highest course in life is your essay. So you must know how to work your essay if you want these things to come your way. So in every essay is the most glorified God among the 3. That's why they have a Sechuafia, a Sena, Seira, Seiram, Seto, Seli, Sedinam, Sehonam, Sechuafia, Selase, Sedinam, all these things. Because it glorifies the work of destiny, or what destiny is. So always give this, because destiny is God. It's the God that is in you. The God that is inside you is your destiny. When you are living this world, you are not going to carry Jehovah with you. You are not going to carry Jesus with you. You are not going to carry anybody with you. But you go with your essay. It will leave this world with you. Wherever you will be born again, your essay will be born with you.
And this brings relates with a question from Kiyor Zua Biboma. Sorry for my pronunciation, from Nigeria, I guess. And it's about how do you see Mother God in African spirituality? So how does Mao Ese, Mao Kitikata, Mao Soblisa relates to the idea of Mother God?
in every cosmology, we are not talking about gender. People are so busy and worried about gender of God. What do you care? God is God. We are calling the F Mother F. Are we not all feeding from this Mother F? So whether God is mother or God is father, does it really matter? Does it really matter? People who are so much concerned about gender equality in divinity, they should go and ask God whether it's a man or it's a woman. Why are people so much worried whether God is a man or is a woman? Does it really matter whether he's a man or is a woman? No, I want to know. Does it really matter whether God is a woman or is a man? I believe God is God, and if only He takes care of you and you take care of Him, that's what matters. Whether it's a woman, it's a man, or it's a child, or it's an old man. Let's say Adam was created by God. Was Adam created as a baby, or he was created as a big human being and dropped in the garden? You know, this question, people don't ask this kind of question. They ask whether God is a mother or is a father. So in every cosmology, we don't define God, the gender of God. But then we know that the earth is called female. But God, the Trinity, say if you are a woman, then your essay is a woman. If you are a man, then your essay is a man. So there is no definition of a essay being woman or a man. And if you can look at it in every cosmology of every names, our names are bisexual. We can give the same name Selassie to a boy, we can give Selassie to a woman. It does not matter. Our names are like that. They can call a girl Mauli, they can call a boy Mauli, they can call a girl Sena, they can call a boy Sena. It does not matter whether it is, because God is God. It does not matter whether it's a woman or it's a man. It's God. That's all that we know. So women can bear the name, men can bear the name. So it has nothing to do with gender here. But then other cultures, if the other cultures are concerned about the gender of God, that is their problem. In my every cosmology, we don't have any gender for God. That's God is God. So Antonio, we can cut this now.
Yeah, and we can.
We thank everybody who watched us.
Yes.
We thank everybody who watched us and sent us your questions. We hope that next week we will still be having the time to be around to continue the discussion. And all the people here, should and then everybody talk, and then go to Mesopotamia. Yeah. To Russia.
No, we are not there.
To Russia.
Next Sunday. Next Sunday between 12
to 3 o'clock.
1 p.m. 2 p.m. Ghana time.
We will start to.
Yes, we will start another session. So
thank you all, and we wish you all the best, and prepare your questions. If I was harsh answering some of your questions because they are not very relevant in my cosmology, that's why I have to say it so, because we don't have any gender for God. And that's why in our culture, God does not have a child. God doesn't have a child in every culture. Everybody is God's child. That's what happened. Oh no, God doesn't have wife.
Okay, so we'll be here again next Sunday.
Thank you, and bye-bye to all of you. Now let's bring that. Thank you. Okay, cheers.